I am Huge of the Turd, and I'm a huge Total War and history geek, so today we'll trash Total War with some history. Here we are in Rome 2. Oh, I know, a lot of you don't really like it because the launch was the train wreck. But truth is, it became one of my favorite Total War titles. Oh, but Turd, game is horrible. Shut up, toilet paper. We don't argue love on this channel. If you love pineapple on pizza, it's all good. Banana on pizza, perfectly fine. Sardine on pizza, you say? That's terrifically Portuguese, amazing. So Turd of the Huge does not discriminate. I'm drifting a little bit, ain't I? Alright, let's get this video started. Recruitment. Recruitment in Total War is silly. There, I said it. And it's sillier in some games more than others. Shogun 2? Good. Rome 2? Bad. Three Kingdoms. What do you mean heroes units that can beat an adequately weak army? So obviously I'll be focusing on Rome 2, and specifically on the Roman faction, but first, some context. The Pre-Marian Roman army was not the professional force we usually think of when thinking about the Roman military. However, one of the most famous battle deployment diagram is the Triplex Accies, or the checkerboard formation, and as any Roman enthusiast could tell you, the Roman army was divided into four main classes of troops that were then deployed in the checkerboards formation in an orderly fashion. Screening the main army, we had the Velites, usually the younger in the army, poorly armored, mostly javelin men, but overall they were skirmishers of all types. These guys wouldn't be a part of the checkerboard formation, they'd form a screening line in front of the main army to conceal their movements. They weren't expected to engage in melee, just to harass an enemy position and then retreat into safety. Then we had the Hastati, the so-called spearmen, from the Latin word for spear hastam. Yeah, in video games they don't really use spears, and that's for a good reason. By the 3rd century BCE, these Hastati had dropped their spears in favor of swords. And yet they retained the name Hastati. These were the first in line for melee combat. They were young, yet old enough to be able to afford some basic equipment. The sword, a breastplate, shield, helmet, greaves, and arm guards. A soldier belonging to the Hastati didn't necessarily own all of these items, but at least a shield, sword, and helmet. They weren't expected to outright win a fight, though that would be ideal. If they didn't win the fight, the Principes would surely get the job done. The Principes are older than the Hastati. Usually well-off, established soldiers, they'd be able to afford better armor, were older and more experienced than these Hastati soldiers. Finally, we have the Triarii, the third line of defense. The Triarii were the most elite troops of Rome. They were usually middle-aged soldiers, they'd likely have seen quite a bit of action and gone through the army ranks. At this point in their life, they'd probably have the best equipment money can afford, or close to that. They're confident, experienced, their morale is high, and they fill the hearts of their allies with confidence. If both the Hastati and Principes weren't able to best the enemy, the Triarii would be sent forth. Outside of the checkerboards formation, we'd have the Equites, who were the aristocrats and nobles, some of them politicians or related to politicians. In short, those who had money to afford a horse and good equipment. And last but not least, we also have the allies of Rome. Tribes or cities allied to Rome would often send tribute in the form of soldiers to fight alongside the Romans. These men were whatever the city or tribe deemed they could send out. Given the Italian region and its culture, we're talking about hoplites, spearmen, swordsmen, skirmishers, horsemen, a little bit of everything in reality. Now that we've had a history lesson and learned a little bit about the Pre-Marian Roman army, I hope you can see where Total War went wrong. But if you cannot, I will explain. We start as Rome and we're able to recruit Hastati. As soon as I unlock the Principes, the Hastati become completely irrelevant. And I'll probably never ever recruit those guys again unless I'm tight with money. But then again, my armies will be less efficient and weaker overall, so I'm gonna need more Hastati to have the same efficiency. But this is completely ahistorical and a very uninteresting and linear system. So how should it really be, you ask? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I got you covered. I thought about everything when it comes to the Roman faction. We will make pizza, and everyone will be happy. Rome 2 will be perfect game with some pizza on it. Or bacalhau, me matuga. Okay.
Yeah, that's not funny.
Oh, shut up. I'm trying hard, okay? Shut up. Come on, settle down. Jeez, tough crowd for this. My idea for the Romans, and indeed most other factions, is to only allow the recruitment of the basic units of each type. The Romans are the simpler faction to do this on because their unit progression is quite linear. You recruit Hastati and then you can upgrade them to Principes and then the Principes to Triarii. The next issue is that we cannot allow this to happen on the same turn. And my idea here is to say that a Hastati unit can only upgrade into Principes once it reaches 3 experience and in a province with the barracks that enables the Principes. Then, the Principes can only be upgraded to Triarii once they have reached experience 6. You might be thinking that getting to the Triarii would not be easy, but after a couple of battles with a warrior agent, with the army, and maybe a little bit of tweaking on the experience gains, this could be very, very well balanced and quite fun to play with. The next question might be, can such a system be implemented in Rome 2? And I think it is, though it would require some Lua programming to implement the experience requirements to the upgrade, I believe. And to implement this to other factions where one unit might be able to upgrade into 2 other units, this would just become more complex. But from what I've seen that mods can do in Rome 2, I believe this would be absolutely possible, so modders out there, please do it! Or let me know how to implement the programming parts because, you know, we need that. Modders, please do it, please do it. If you've played Mount & Blade, you might see some influence from its unit upgrade system here, and it would be essentially that system where you recruit peasants and train them to be elite units eventually. I believe this would make warrior agents way more useful, as well as making mercenaries that much more important, and of course, the armies would be much more personal to you because you would be upgrading those units over time. And personally, I think it would be more accurate while also keeping things interesting and fun. What do you think about it? Would it work in Total War? Let me know if you enjoyed this video by crashing into that like button, like the train wreck that Rome 2 was at launch. But safely, of course, you know, as one does, you crash safely, as one does. Subscribe to be part of Team Azeite and to harness the power of the bacalhau. I've been the turd of the toilets, and I'll see you all in the next Portugal, caralho. I'm in Portugal.